Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the PureConnect Community's Q&A show, the show where we take your pressing questions from the Genesys online community and answer them, or at least do our best to. My name is Matt Lawson. I am your online community manager, and today I am joined by two experts to discuss holiday scheduling. And then after that, we'll hop into the community to answer some of your questions. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Kevin, Brian, thank you all so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to talk with you.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah. And I know, we're sitting here, we're all getting ready for the holidays and we want to talk about holiday scheduling. But before we do, this is the first time that a lot of our community members may have met you. So let's start with Kevin. Kevin, can you introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, Kevin Kuhns. I'm in charge of the PureConnect and the Pure Cloud documentation groups. We're part of the larger information experience group in Genesys, which has about 60 people in it. So we do all of the product documentation and related resources and videos.
Awesome. What about you, Brian?
Hi, I'm Brian Schaffer. I have been working on the PureConnect product since 1999. I've worked in support, QA, and I'm currently a development director in the PureConnect R&D group.
Awesome. Cool, guys. Well, one of the things that I always like to do is ask community members to submit icebreakers or just something that they would like to ask you somewhat anonymously. And what I do is I put all those icebreakers in this little bowl here. I mix them up semi-randomly, and then I pick one. And today's icebreaker comes from Mark, and I like this question a lot. I'm sure you've heard it before. It's something you've probably discussed on many a road trip. Mark wants to know, if you had a superpower, what would it be? And we'll go ahead and start with Kevin.
If I had a superpower, I like Wolverine's superpower where he just automatically heals as soon as he gets injured. I'm having knee issues and back issues, and I just think that'd be really nice to not have those issues. And if I could dispense that to other people, I would. I try, but
awesome.
So I like that.
I like that you keep it real. What about you, Brian?
Well, I think the road trip is the best part of a trip. So teleporting is definitely not on the list of options for it. I would like an ironclad bladder so I would never have to stop.
All right. I guess we'll see if that one gets through the censors, but I'm going to accept that answer. All right, Kevin, Brian, the holidays are upon us. I know because my wife is messaging me now more than ever. So what should we do? Should we go ahead and talk about holiday scheduling?
Sure. So in PureConnect, we do holiday scheduling in a couple of places. We start with Interaction Administrator, where we have the schedules container, which is under people. And in the schedules container, you can create an entry for anything, any event or holiday or anything that you want to schedule within Interaction Attendant. So when that date of this scheduled event comes around, it automatically gets activated in Interaction Attendant. So recently I worked with somebody here to let's create the Thanksgiving schedule since we didn't have one. And so they created a new entry in here called Thanksgiving. And we're pointing out the fact that, obviously Thanksgiving is not just a one-time event, it's a yearly event. But this yearly event doesn't occur on the exact same date every year like Christmas does, for example, on December 25th. So it's a relative date, and it's relative to the particular month and time of the month. But I learned, to my chagrin, that we did this incorrectly when we were putting it together. Thanksgiving is actually the fourth Thursday of November, not the last Thursday of November, as we showed in our video. And it's interesting, a little bit of history, because at one time, Thanksgiving was actually the last Thursday of November. Abraham Lincoln created a proclamation declaring Thanksgiving is the last Thursday of November. And from 1863 on, it was the last Thursday of November. But it just happened that in 1939, there were 5 Thursdays in November, November 30th being the last one. And so Franklin Roosevelt thought, that's not enough time to do shopping between now and Christmas. And it caused some consternation. So he said, we're going to do it on the second Thursday of November. Well, that created chaos because half the country followed Roosevelt and half didn't. And so some of the people were celebrating on the second Thursday of November and some on the last Thursday. Congress said, enough of this. In 1941, they said it's hereby forevermore the fourth Thursday of November. So now you know the history of Thanksgiving holiday, fourth Thursday of November. Unfortunately, in our little video that we just recently put out, which steps you through this whole process, we showed the last Thursday of November. We'll correct it, but I wanted to go on record as why it is the way it is.
Well, I can just say it's very clear that a man made this mistake because only you would then go and research the history of when is Thanksgiving and why. So well done.
Well, thank you. Details matter.
Right.
So when we set the schedule, when Thanksgiving Day comes around on that Thursday, we want this holiday schedule to be activated all day. So there's not a beginning and end time, and we can do it every year, so no end date. So this creates the primary entry in the system for the Thanksgiving holiday. Now, when you come over to Interaction Attendant, you create an entry in your profile. We created one called Holidays, and you can scroll down here to see your options. And in this case, since we created the entry point in Interaction Administrator, it's a system holiday. You select the system tab here, and this displays the holidays that are available, or the schedules that are available in Interaction Administrator. So here we've selected Thanksgiving, and it's now part of this profile. Then you can, in Attendant, select that entry and insert some action that you want to happen after this recording plays. I didn't mention that you can select any variety of recordings to associate with that. You can make it a general recording for all the holidays or a specific recording. You can record it here or select a previously recorded WAV file from there. But then you can decide, okay, now that they've heard that we're closed, happy holidays, sorry, please call back during open hours, you could automatically disconnect the call or insert some other operation if you wanted to, transfer them or provide some other sub options here to send them to another queue or something like that. So that's how you would create an entry for a holiday in Interaction Administrator and then activate it in your profile in Interaction Attendant.
So Brian, as somebody on our development team, when it comes to scheduling, maybe for the holidays or maybe in general, what kind of question do you get frequently from customers that you might like to just point out now as they're kind of starting to plan their holiday schedules, maybe for the first time? Any kind of common, slip-ups that you see or any kind of best practices you would recommend?
I don't have a lot of recommendations around that. The scheduling aspect of the product has been fairly consistent for quite a few years now, and most of our users have a really good understanding of the functionality and how it works. If anything, they just lose track of all the schedules they have and which ones are in effect and impacting them. So just going through their IVR and Attendant, looking at their schedules, making sure that they have the proper tabs active in Attendant so that it's running the one time or the daily or the weekly. These are key things they want to remember to do.
Okay, perfect. Well, we hope that advice was helpful. The holidays are not upon us just yet. If you have any questions about scheduling that we didn't get to cover in this quick demo, feel free to leave us a note. And in the meantime, Brian, Kevin, let's hop into the community and answer some questions.
Okay.
It's time for Stump the Expert. We love it when questions in the community get great answers, but these questions fell on hard times. No one was able to answer their plea for knowledge. Can our ragtag group of experts provide a helping hand? If not, there's still hope. We'll shuffle the question to our bounty board where community members can saddle up and take their best shot at answering. If they receive the best answer, they can save the day and earn some lucrative GCAP points for doing so. Giddy up.
Our first question comes from Philip, and it's regarding CIC SNMP. Sounds like it needs to be a song to me. I just made that up. Does anyone know how to wipe the current SNMP configuration on the CIC server and start fresh? Brian and Kevin, I bring this question to you. Any advice for Philip?
Yeah, I would just be curious about what details he's interested in and what he's trying to accomplish with the SNMP. What problems is he having? Then I'd also, if you're working there, very good to be aware that there are lots of wonderful traps and all sorts of statistics that you can monitor and catch with your third-party monitoring tools.
Okay, cool. So just a little bit more information before you can really hop in and help our friend out. Okay, awesome. Philip, we hope you can get that to us. This next question comes to us from Marion. Marion wants to know about screen recording with Interaction Connect. Marion writes, "Hi, I cannot find any information on using screen recording with Interaction Connect web client. Is it possible to enable screen recording for this web client, or do I still need the workstation install of the Interaction Screen Recorder capture client? Thanks." What do you guys think? Any advice for Marion?
I think they need to run the recorder client because I think it captures everything that's on the screen. So the installation instructions cover how to set that up. As far as I know, that's still a requirement. I'm not sure why it wouldn't be.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any purely browser-based solution for doing the screen recording. An agent has to be installed on the agent's desktop to be able to record the screen.
Right.
Okay, great, cool. Marion, we hope that was helpful. Let's go ahead and do one more here. This next question is going to be a little difficult to read, but sometimes that's how we like it. It comes to us from a longtime contributor named Elaine. Elaine, I think I'm saying that right. Elaine wants to know about exiting/logoff in Interaction Connect. He writes, "Good morning. Is there a way to make sure that when an agent closes the browser that it automatically logs him or her out of the system? Is there a specific setting or parameter to enable? We all know that it's very important to tell them to log off, but in reality, well, I guess we all know. Thanks in advance, Elaine." Mark, our top contributor, member of the month at a certain point, chimed in and kind of asked a few clarifying questions and shared some advice, but I wanted to get you all to weigh in because Elaine has written back with some more information. And he says, agents are still logged in and available, so it has an impact on ACD. Calls coming in can be answered directly on the phone. Calls are still up, which at least is a good thing. Agents are logged out once the call is disconnected. So that is the situation he is facing with a little bit more detail. Brian and Kevin, what do you think? Any advice here?
I think this is the work of we have the supervisor feature that enables the supervisor to log somebody out when they're not in. So if the agent just shuts down and takes off, the supervisor can detect that and then log them out. But I don't know about automation to automatically log the agent out if they just close the browser and leave, unless there may be some way to customize some code to do that, but I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I believe that if they're not on a call and they're not doing anything and they close the browser, then their session should time out within 2 or 3 minutes, and they would then be marked as logged off if they didn't have any other applications running as that user account. The detail of while they're on a call, it keeps their session active, and when they disconnect, then they log out. That's something that I find interesting, and I would want to look in the session manager log and client services log with some notes level tracing to see exactly why it's hanging on to that session until the call is disconnected.
Cool. Is there by any chance you have one of those logs available, or could you walk us through how to find them?
Yeah, on most IC servers, if you look in your whatever drive you're installed on, i3 IC logs is commonly where that's stored. On some systems, they may have a dedicated drive set up for the logs. If they're a PureConnect Cloud customer, they would use My Cloud and then do a log retrieval request through the My Cloud application. You could search for star.inin log on your IC server for the logs. Nodes level tracing, once you find a log file, you can open that up, and in your tool menu options, you could launch the trace config utility, select a subsystem, and really narrow down and get specific on the trace levels you want. I'm sure you have wonderful topics on tracing as well that you've covered already.
Between Kevin and us, I would hope we have something. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we have documentation for that. Also, there's an ACD logoff tool in handlers that, you could write anything in handlers, right, to customize behavior.
All right, cool. Have a question here from our friend Aaron, who I had the pleasure of meeting at Experience 19, which he talks about in the question. Aaron writes, wants to know about media server virtualization. He writes, at Experience 19 this year during the PureConnect roadmap session, it was stated that Genesys was going through the process of approving media server virtualization options for production environments, and they expected to release information in Q4. I haven't seen anything else about this since and was wondering if anyone here had the inside scoop. As luck would have it, one of our friends, Tom, said that the feature is currently under development and it hopes to be released around 2020. But from what I understand, Brian, you might know a little bit about this project, and so I wanted to make sure you and Aaron got connected in this video here. So Brian, go ahead and talk to us about media server virtualization.
Hey, Aaron, I happen to be managing the development team that is building this out for us. So this is a work in progress. Anything I say here cannot be held against me or used in a court of law or as any contractual obligation. So the development's going really well. We're looking to be code complete on the CIC specific changes by the end of Q4, and we do think we have a high probability of this making it into 2020 R1. This is going to be a little different than maybe what people are expecting. The approach that we're taking here is we want to really be hardware agnostic. It's a change to the licensing model. So we're going to implement a phone home mechanism in which the IC server, because there's no host ID anymore that will need to be tracked, it's going to phone home to the Genesys cloud and tell the Genesys cloud that it's running. It's going to use the model of the premise subscription usage to upload usage information about how the product's being used. And then through the premise subscription style of licensing, we will count how much is being done. So you'll have any number of media servers, session managers, IC servers, and as long as they keep phoning home to Genesys Cloud and saying, I'm this customer doing this amount of work, and as long as it's invoiceable data, those machines will keep running virtualized. And we hope to be able to support AWS, Azure, Hyper-V, really agnostic to the platforms. But it's in the works, and we're excited about it.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for the information, Brian. And Aaron, I know you're a longtime contributor to the community. Maybe this would be a good topic for us to discuss later, right in with my ideas of what you would like to know about this project as it releases. And of course, maybe we can have Brian back on an AMA or on another episode once this project is finalized. Cool. All right, this next question comes to us from Vineet. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And he wanted to know about MRCP ASR server errors. Now, Brian, you and I have talked about this question just a little bit off camera. I won't read the whole thing, but in general, I'll just kind of give a brief overview. Vineet says they're currently running MRCP ASR server along with Nuance Recognizer and Volyzer on a Windows 2008 server. As Windows 2008 is EOL, we are now moving to Windows 2012 R2 as recommended by Genesys support. I have raised a ticket with support, but it's been a while for them to get back. Sorry about that. The net. Neat. I am hoping someone can help me here. Then he gets into how he installed the software and the server is not responding. And long story short, Brian, you and I and Kevin, we've all looked over this question. And I just wanted to see what information you might have to share here.
Well, one of the projects we recently did in the QA team was to validate the latest nuance release with Windows 2012 and then specifically 2016, upgrading IC, MRCP, Vocalizer, and the nuance, all those machines. We upgraded the OSs we ran on 2012, we installed on Windows Server 2016, we set it up, we got it all working. The results of that were posted on testlab.genesys.com under the area for speech recognition and text-to-speech. There's some install and configuration guides out there that walk through what we did to set it up and get it working in our test lab. So we've seen it work. This is a complicated environment to set up, so challenges are to be expected, but there is a documented path to success that I hope might shed a little light for some people. One thing we ran into was making sure some of the Java runtime engines were correct, and some of those requirements were not spelled out in the nuance software. Probably nothing to do with what you're seeing, but check out what we posted on testlab.genesys.com to see if it might be of some use.
Cool, awesome. I hope that information is helpful while you're waiting for support to get back to you. Kevin and Brian, I think that does it for us here. Thank you so much for bringing your expertise to this. I hope we made everybody's holidays just a little bit more comfortable and a little less stressful. Brian, Kevin, anything you want to add before we conclude this episode?
Wish everyone a blessed, happy holidays.
Yeah, same here, and I hope to see people at the Experience Conference next year.
Yeah, well, I think we should all be there around 2020. Yeah, it'll be fun. Let's see here. All right. Well, I think that does it for us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Kevin, Brian, thank you so much for giving us some of your, just a little bit of your brain power. We really appreciate it. And we'll catch you all later. Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in for this week's episode. We hope it was helpful and maybe a little bit entertaining. Each week, our hosts and experts review community discussions and debate what content to discuss, so your voice matters. Do we miss something? Do you have a question for the show? Let us know. Join the conversation at the Genesys online community. As a Genesys customer or partner, you can create an account. Just click the sign in button found on most pages and follow the necessary instructions to create an account. Also, feel free to email us at qashow@genesys.com. We'd love to hear from you. If this is your first episode, welcome. You can view our entire archives. Go to the Helpful Links panel found on most community pages and find the QA Show archive that interests you. We appreciate your support of the show and the community. Cheers!